Let's learn some 3D paper techniques. Need to see a particular technique? Scroll to the corresponding time. To create a loop, you're going to need a long skinny rectangle. You are going to fold it together. So I'm going to put glue on just one side of my paper. Press. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to my paper. And now press it one more time. And I have a loop. Another way to do this is to make kind of like you're doing a paper chain. You're going to once again put glue on one side of your paper. Just a little bit, you don't need a lot. And I'm going to fold the other end on top. Press. Hold it for about 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then once again, put a little bit on my paper. And I have a loop. There are 2 ways to create a curl. The first way is to take your skinny rectangle and to wrap it around your finger. You can also wrap it around a pencil or a pen or something else that's skinny. Add a little bit of glue to the bottom. And put it on your paper. So that's the one way to do the curl. The other way is using scissors. So you're going to very carefully open up your scissors. Using one hand, you're going to hold the scissors, and the other, you're going to take your paper and run it along the edge of the scissors. But again, be very careful. So by doing this, I'm creating a gradual curl. The thinner your paper, the more curly it's going to be. So this is construction paper, and there wasn't much curl to it. And those are the 2 different ways to make a curl. For bend and score, I'm going to first cut out the shape that I want. So for this, I'm going to cut out a semicircle. I'm going to leave a little bit of room at the bottom for a tab. And now I want to turn this flat shape into a 3-dimensional shape. So I'm going to go around the edges and I'm going to bend it or fold it. So I'm going around and I'm creating a score, which is another word for bending. And now I have a way to glue down my paper so that I have this cool little cave shape. And you can use bend and score with any shape you want. It doesn't have to be the semicircle. This was just the shape that I chose. Right, this is also a way that you can make a pocket. So as you can see, if I hold it up, I have a little slit here. That could also be a pocket. So that's bend and score. Cutting on the fold is a way to create negative space. So this is a 2D technique as well as a 3D. What I'm going to do is fold my paper in half. And then I'm going to cut out half of a shape. So for example, if I wanted the shape in the middle here to be a heart, I would cut out half of a heart shape. It might be helpful to draw out what you're going to cut first. And then when you open it up, you have a heart, or if you wanted to do a rectangle. Open it up, you have a rectangle. So this is a 2-dimensional piece of paper right now. In order to make it 3-dimensional, you're just going to add glue on the edges of your paper. I'm just going to add glue to the ends. Flip it over. Add a couple dots of glue. And it's going to look just like this. Cut and bend is similar to cut on the fold. So you're going to still fold it in half, and if I wanted to make a heart stand up at the bottom, I'm going to cut my heart shape out. Except, instead of cutting all the way through, I'm going to leave it, open it up, and I'm going to be able to pull up this heart so that it sticks up. And then I'm going to put my glue, not on the heart because it's sticking up, on the back part of the paper. And that's cut and bend. There are two ways to do tabs. So tabs is anytime you want your paper to be sticking upright, but you don't have anything to glue it onto. So if I wanted this strip of paper to stick up like this, I don't want to put glue along the bottom because it's not going to be sturdy enough to stand up on its own. So instead, I'm going to make tabs. So I'm going to take my scissors and just only about a centimeter, put a little slit in it. And I'm going to do this all the way down my paper. You can choose how far to put your tabs. I'm doing mine about every half of an inch. Okay, so now I have my tabs. I'm going to fold them back and forth so that it looks like this. Now I can glue down my paper so that it sticks upright. You can decide whether you want your tabs alternating like this or if you want to put them all on one side, it doesn't matter. If you want them all on one side, just bend them back the other direction. Now I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the bottom of each tab, and I can glue down my paper. The other tab method is to take out the shape that you want to cut. So I made this kind of like an angel wing. I'm going to fold the bottom of it so I have a small tab, put the glue on the bottom part of my tab, and again, just a little teeny bit will do. And that way, when I glue it down, my wing can stick upright. You might see the word accordion fold and pleat used interchangeably. They are the exact same thing. So to create an accordion fold, I'm going to take my strip of paper, it could be any size, and I'm going to fold it back and forth. Forward, backward with a crease. Forward, crease, backward, crease. I'm doing this all the way along my paper. And when I open it up, I'm going to get a zigzag effect. To create fringe, you're going to take your strip of paper and you are going to cut almost to the edge, but not quite. So you can see I stopped about a centimeter to the top of my paper. You can make your fringe short if you want, or cut it all the way up. It is up to you. You just have to be very careful not to cut too far because then you're going to chop off the edge. So there's a few different ways that you can do fringe. You can keep it straight, like I have with the purple. Another thing you can do is curl it. So taking your finger and gently curling each of the strands, either individually or taking them together and curling them as a whole. Or you can pleat your fringe. So kind of like the accordion fold, every single strand you're going to fold forward, backwards, all the way down until you get to the end. Open that back up and you're going to have a pleat. So here's my three types of fringe. I have regular, curled, and pleated. Slits are also called slits and slots, and you can use this to stack paper on top of one another. So if I had my triangle here, I'm going to bend it so that I can stick it on my paper. And let's say I wanted my yellow strip to go on top of the triangle. What I can do is fold this in half, put a slit in it, so there's a hole, and I can stick it on top of my pink triangle. So I'm sticking the triangle through the yellow paper, like this. So maybe I want another pink triangle going the other direction. I can put a slit, very small one, on the top of my pink triangle, and then stick the smaller pink triangle in the slot. To make a cone, you need to first start with a semicircle. So that means a half circle. So I'm going to take the two corners, the pointy ends, and I'm going to overlap them. So I'm going to fold one down and one up. And you want them to come to a point at the top. So I'm going to take my fingers and keep pinching and pulling until I come up with the shape that I want. So this. So now I'm going to take the top flap, holding with my other hand to make sure it doesn't come undone. I'm going to fold the flap back and add just a little bit of glue. Do not let go with your other hand, otherwise your cone's going to fall apart. Pull this over, and now I'm going to press and make sure this glue dries and it seals. All right, once it's dry, and you're trying to get it on your paper so that it's sticking out, kind of like a carrot nose, I would not recommend trying to put glue directly on the bottom side of the paper. It's probably not going to stick very well. Instead, you can put a few very small tabs in order to make it stay. So I cut very small tabs. I'm going to fold them in. Now you can add a small amount of glue to your tabs. Notice I folded them inward so that I wouldn't be able to see it when I glued it down. Glue it down. Again, make sure you press for a few seconds, at least 5 seconds. And after that, you have your cone glued down. For my spiral, I'm going to start out by drawing a swirl. But I want it to come all the way down to the edge of my paper. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut along the pencil line. Notice that I'm turning my paper as I cut rather than turning my scissors. You want to keep your scissor hand pretty still and use your other hand to rotate the paper around. Right, so on this side, you can still see my pencil mark, so I'm actually going to turn that around, pull it up, and I have a spiral. So I'm going to glue down the side that I drew with the pencil just so that I can't see that.